but this is an altogether very different sort of occasion. But he does like to spoil the party, doesn't he, James Wade? And you just wouldn't put it past him. In front of 4,000 raucous Dutch people, Van Duijverbode looking to set a very high bar.
139.
And looking to get the party started as well. One of 3 Dutch players in action tonight, Barney and Nyman on the way later. But this could be a very special way to start things off.
Well, what is very interesting, when you look at these two's head-to-head record over the years, you would think James Wade would have the beating of Dirk van Duijverbode over the whole piece of it. It's not the case. It's nearly 2 wins to every defeat that Dirk has against James Wade. And the 2 most recent defeats in 2023, including one horrible game at the European Championship, that was when Dirk was in the doldrums, his injury problems. That was his low point. That was when it looked like Dirk van Duijverbode's career might be over.
Yeah.
And James Wade took advantage that day at the European Championship in a really grim game of darts, truth be told. But when he has been fit, when he has been firing, Dirk van Duijverbode has won pretty much every single time they've met since 2016.
Yeah. And one very notable meeting, here in Holland as well. Dutch Darts Masters in the World Series in a semi-final, 7-6. Van Duijverbode won that one before losing quite handsomely at the hands of Dimitri van den Berg in the final itself. Good match, that one.
Yeah, yet another case where Dirk van Duijverbode has been in a big stage final and then not been able to get the job done. He will get there if he gets back to how he was playing. It was an inevitability he'd win big stage titles before his injuries. Tops. That'll do. 15 dart start, ton plus finish. Dirk is here to play.
Yeah, 164 checkout to round things off in his opening match, and a 112 checkout to start things off in his second round encounter against James Wade. 102.4 the average yesterday as well. The winner of this to face either Peter Wright or Wessel Nyman, who meet in our 4th match of the evening. Mentioned it yesterday, Van Duijverbode with £23,500 in ranking money on the European Tour this year, thanks in large to that semi-final recently in Sindelfingen. Made the last 8 in Graz as well. James Wade, £14,500, all thanks to a quarter-final in Sindelfingen and a semi-final in Visa. All his money, all his ranking money, has come from those 2 events.
140.
So it's either been a little bit feast or famine for James Wade on the Euro Tour this year, so far.
Yeah, he's in that privileged position of being so high in the world rankings that he's going to get passes straight through to round 2 for these. And so, yeah, he can have some early exits. But if every other one, say, he wins a game, maybe wins another one,
he'll be all right.
Yeah, he's going to be cruising off to the European Championship and maintaining some decent money on his Pro Tour ranking as well.
Yeah.
As a little added bonus.
And he's still making an impression in big TV majors as well. Finalist at the UK Open this year. And that's one of the reasons why he's number 9 in the world right now.
81. 161.
Lost 10-9 to Jermaine Wattimena in the second round of the European Championship last year, so made it through with 26 grand on the European Order of Merit last time. But here we go.
For a 161, Dirk van Duijverbode. Oh. Dynamite stuff from Big Dirk.
Well, he just cannot help himself, can he? That's 3 on the spin, really, when he take it back to last night.
Game.
Anything can happen when this man is fully fit and in form, and he is there.
Wow. Well, that was special.
99.
And if the crowd needed any encouragement whatsoever, well, they've been given it in bucket loads already today so far by Van Duijverbode in this one.
97.
12 darter, 161 checkout on the back of the 112 and the 164 last night, and you just wonder what, if anything, James Wade has in response.
96.
15 dart hole, 12 dart break, textbook. Not only going along at 109 average, and he can sustain this, Dirk. He hasn't even started scoring properly yet to hit a 180. Shouldn't be looking to get one here, I wouldn't have thought. It will start in the 19s, I would think.
Yeah, just having a look, taking a big deep breath as well, and did go for the 19s, but hit the treble 3.
49.
Yeah, and this is where Dirk has to be careful. Obviously, 2 massive highs so far, but if he does go off the boil, which he, you know, almost inevitably will at some stage, it's all about how he bounces back from the little setbacks that are going to materialise here and there. Wade is a little bit frustrated with himself there because he hasn't really made the most of that situation.
Dirk just trying to compose himself. A lot of adrenaline coursing through his veins. This is a big weekend, as we said already this weekend, for the Dutch players. Their only chance to play a ranking event in their home country. A very rare chance to play in their home country full stop in PDC darts.
100. They're going to go 117.
For another ton plus finish. Single 17. Leaves tops. He can't stop it, you know. 112, 161, 117. It was a 164 to wrap up his win last night. Dirk van Duijverbode doesn't even need to be close to the end of the leg to be finishing him off.
I'm sure our very reliable statisticians are just maybe thinking about having a bit of a trawl through the record books. Has anybody ever won a match 6-0 on the European Tour with 6 successive ton plus checkouts? He's halfway there.
140.
It's a big ask, but I tell you what.
The thing is with Dirk, he's not the player you'd expect to do it. Because you'd expect in some of these legs he'd be down under 100 after 9 darts anyway. It's the likes of James Wade you'd expect to be doing this kind of stuff. He is beating Wade at his own game here.
Absolutely sensational, and Van Duijverbode kicking off with a ton 40 as well for good measure, and he just can't stay away.
133.
A couple of trebles for good measure there as well, and already threatening to take control of this leg on the Wade throw. Wade, 1 treble so far.
136.
That's a good response by Wade. Gets down to a finish, and well, he might have to take it out because Van Duijverbode could leave himself another ton plus opportunity with this visit as well. It could be less than a ton.
136. Changing to go 170.
Well, it would have been somewhat ironic had
100.
in the leg where Van Duijverbode can't take out a ton plus checkout, Wade comes up with the big fish just to shift the balance of power in this one, but 92 will do here for DVD.
2 doubles. Can't get it going, and there is quite a hefty dose of irony in the fact he's taken everything over 100 out, but he gets one under 100 and can't even get a dart at a double. Tops. To strike back. Can't get it done.
2 missed darts at double 20 for James Wade. 3 clear darts at double 20 for Dirk van Duijverbode. Yeah, this is where the match could be won or lost. It's all well and good taking out the ton plus checkouts, but can he take care of the bread and butter? Yes, he can. It's a 13 darter as well. But don't take any gloss off that just because it was only a double 20 finish. That was a really good strong leg from Dirk van Duijverbode, because James Wade was just showing a bit of life in that one, and he was threatening to respond but couldn't find the double 20. Van Duijverbode did, and it's 4-0. It's 2 breaks to the good as well.
96.
And this is impressive.
That's the only leg where Wade has been allowed a 5th visit to the board. He got a couple of darts at double, couldn't take his chance, and now he is in all sorts of bother.
Yeah, keep an eye on those averages, by the way. This should be, if he can maintain this sort of level, the highest average of the weekend so far.
Well, this is the 5th staging of this tournament. If he stays at this level, he's going to be one of the highest averages this tournament has seen. Michael Smith hit 111 back in 2022. That's the only one to break the 110 mark.
60. 136.
Even the maximum doesn't get into a finish. Dirk van Duijverbode is still in control of the leg. But that is a reminder that James Wade is part of this game as well. He hasn't been as big a part of the game as he'd like.
Yeah, just a little shot of adrenaline for James Wade. I think that's all he needed, really, just to give himself reminders, let alone his opponent. Well, you can see what Van Duijverbode has left himself.
90.
And on the evidence of what we've seen so far, do not be surprised in the slightest if this goes. Gets the first start, absolutely gorgeous. Big fat single 18. Back upstairs for tops once again.
70.
Well, it was too much to ask for, and the crowd
75.
certainly letting their feelings known there. Wade can step in on 75 for a break back. One of the breaks he needs.
39.
James Wade missing big numbers, not even getting darts at double. And if Dirk van Duijverbode, who finally missed a dart at double, if you're going to allow him back and get 3 more, surely it's leg over. It's not, though.
35.
Yeah, and this is what I said earlier about how Van Duijverbode, I said, you know, when the slip-ups come, which they inevitably will, how does he respond and how does he deal with it? And this is where we'll see what Van Duijverbode's made of, because he's lost that leg. It should be 5-0, it's 4-1. Wade has got one of the breaks back, he still needs to find a bit more. But yeah, this is all about how Van Duijverbode responds to that little setback. He's still in a great position, but yeah, how does he respond? That's the question.
95.
Dirk just looked like he expected to just keep hitting everything he wanted. And why wouldn't you expect that when you can play like this? That is his first 180 of this game, Dirk van Duijverbode.
Yeah, lost a flight in the process, but the dart stayed true. And well, we've had a little bit of everything so far in this one, but 3 perfect darts for Van Duijverbode, giving the crowd something else to cling to here in our opening match of the Saturday night session on day 2 of the Dutch Darts Championship 2025. The dream of the 9-darter is over. I don't think Van Duijverbode will be too fussed about that, in all honesty.
93.
Danny Noppert, the only Dutchman guaranteed a spot in tomorrow's final day. The World Cup darts captain for the Netherlands this year, of course, overcoming Mario van der Behade this afternoon.
Yeah, that was a nice bullseye finish as well.
167.
Really impressed with Danny Noppert today. 167 here for Wade. I'm not writing Wade out of this by any stretch of the imagination.
139.
He's just beginning to show signs of life and maybe just threatening to make a move. Now then, Dirk, 170 for another feather in your cap in terms of the finishing today. Gets the second treble 20. The crowd expecting this one off. And why not? Because he has absolutely pinned it bang on the money. And just look at the reaction from Dirk van Duijverbode, and look at the reaction from James Wade as well. Borderline sick as a dog there, James Wade, who cannot believe what he's just seen. Just when it looks as though Van Duijverbode might be wobbling a little bit, he comes back in with the biggest checkout of the lot to go with all the others, and just look at those numbers. 3 figures right across the board, apart from leg 4. But that is sickening for James Wade.
One of the biggest scorers in this sport is taking one of the best finishers this sport has ever seen to the cleaners with one of the greatest displays of finishing we have seen on the Euro Tour. 4 ton-plus checkouts, a 170, a 161. It is obscene from Dirk van Duijverbode. You are watching one of the most exciting players on the planet, and he is back.
100.
And just look at those numbers as well. A couple of 12 darters in the midst of all that. And yeah, I mean, got the break as well, straight back. Just when James Wade might be starting to think about something special, but Van Duijverbode just cannot stay away from that treble 20 bed at times. And he's really fired up for this one now. he wants to get this one put to bed ASAP. Does not want to give Wade any sort of glimmer of hope here.
He has broken James Wade 3 times in this game with legs of 12, 13 and 12. He is averaging 120 against the darts in this match, Dirk van Duijverbode. Beat that.
.106 the average right now as well for van Duijverbode.
131.
And he's down to 180 after 9 darts as well. So maybe could finish it off at the next visit.
Could he win this with a 5th ton-plus finish in 6 legs? 6 winning legs. Treble, single, double required to cap an astonishing display.
Well, he's been devastating on double 20 so far today as well. That's the other thing. He's done all the hard work with the treble 20. He misses the single. Wade, can he step back in to break back once again? That one was slightly further away. Can he use those 2? He's just stepping over ever so slightly to the right-hand side, and he steps over to good effect. And yeah, just another little warning sign, isn't there, for Dirk van Duijverbode?
Game.
It would be just astonishing if Wade somehow rescued this, with van Duijverbode missing that big fat single 20.
100.
Well, I'm still not ruling it out.
Well, that UK Open run he had to the final, I know he was annihilated in the final by Luke Littler, but some of the games and the end of the matches, particularly against Luke Humphries, he was unreal, James Wade. The score in the finishing, it was flawless darts. He needs a burst like that for these last 4 legs. Even then, I'm not sure he wins it, because Dirk looks like a 12-darter could appear at any time. It's not going to happen in this leg.
42.
Yeah, this one could be a write-off already.
Yeah, by far the worst leg he's had against the darts.
But this is it. I mean, 5-1 should have given himself a shot at the double for the match, and all of a sudden it could be 5-3, and it's a very different game then. And then van Duijverbode will be feeling, well, what happens if the momentum just suddenly goes? It might be in the back of his mind. It's all about the psychology.
Ready for a big finish of his own. Just the wrong side of that wire.
Excellent. 116.
Well, 300 points to the chasm here, so yeah, I think van Duijverbode is thinking about the all-important legs to come,
94.
which will be on his throw.
45.
Double 10, James Wade, surely. No, not this time.
25. James, you require 20.
Let's cut the gap.
The
gap is cut. James Wade holds throw for the first time in this game. But Dirk van Duijverbode only needs one more leg, as he got another one of those brilliant 4-visit legs to close this out.
Well, we saw Michael Smith earlier today. He was 5-3 down against Ryan Joyce. He came through to win it 6-5 after an imperious performance on finishing by Ryan Joyce up until the very last leg when he squandered 10 opportunities.
93.
And maybe, just maybe, there is the potential for shades of that once again in this one. Van Duijverbode started sluggishly once again with 58, and he's wayward with that second dart as well. Just the one treble on that visit, so just again a hint of an opening here for James Wade. Yeah, little wonder Wade looks annoyed and exasperated with that one. That was a real chance to just steal a little bit of a march on Van Duijverbode.
He had a game a bit like this on the Euro Tour a few weeks ago, Dirk van Duijverbode, where he started off in the first four legs. It looked like he was going to break every record known to man and finish in an average about 120. But then it just went, and he ended up sort of falling over the line, and the average was over a ton, but nothing that really stood out. And it didn't illustrate how devastating he was in the early part of the game. It might have been against Yehirski George, but he's definitely done this. It's about sustaining it, not just for four legs, for a whole game. This will help. That is a beauty. He's down to a two-darter.
Well, gets him down. I mean, switching to the 19s was sensible in terms of the scoring. I thought that second dart might have been a little bit precarious anyway, but all in all, it's a good visit. And yeah, he's just started muttering to himself as Van Duijverbode as well. But yeah, this is the chance now to put this one to bed. Wade is lurking just in case on 164. Big deep breaths for Dirk van Duijverbode. Could he wrap it up with another ton plus or ton check out in this case? Top stops? Yeah, not quite.
6.
Wade on 164, and I know it's James Wade. I don't think going the full gun at the top stops and potentially losing a dart out the board was wise. However, it is James Wade. It is James Wade for a 164. Oh, very nearly a third monstrous check out of the game. Wade might be about to fall to Dirk van Duijverbode for the second Euro Tour running, beaten in Sindelfingen in a tight one. Blown away here tonight. Dirk van Duijverbode, imperious, an astonishing display of finishing. 4 ton-plus finishes, including a 170 and a 161. 4,000 Dutch fans going berserk because the Overgenius is in the final day of the Dutch Darts Championship.